said to print those out, right?
Do what, Karen?
You said to print those out.
To print.
Those that's in the AAPTEL template. You said to print.
Yeah, I would. You know what I said is the best practice. You know, follow your template. But if you've got those things in black and white written out, it makes it so much easier, and it saves you a lot of time too, so
Yeah,
that you don't have to keep
print
flipping
mine.
back and forth into it. I've always, you know, I'll look at there, but I like something beside me that I can refer back to
Yeah,
as well. So
tangible.
I would put them in those clear sleeves or something like that, and just have them beside me when I'm working. And it's just a good reference tool. I'm old school though. I just believe in a paper copy of stuff. I'm just,
It is
I've
better.
lost, my computer has crashed before and I've lost too much stuff in the past. And I always keep me a copy of something just in case. My good stuff anyway.
Right.
Joel, I saw you come on first. Did you have a question that you wanted to ask?
No, I don't believe so. Is not this Sunday, the 25th, but the following Sunday, is that when we submit the AAPTEL draft?
Yes, yes. We will actually come online next Tuesday, and I'll go back over things again. But I'm just really going to just it'll be a little bit different because we've given you so much time to work on things. So I don't want to go back and to go through everything step by step by step. I don't think we have to do that. So our focus is going to be a little bit different, but most of you should have pretty much worked through task 1 anyway. And you know, and if there are any fuzzy areas, I would hope that even before next Tuesday, that students would have reached out to either Dr. Revis or myself.
You said by next Tuesday?
No, I would say by next Tuesday. That's our next class, and you know, by that Sunday, it would the AAPTEL Task 1 will be due Sunday week for our review. But I'm just saying that if students wait until next Tuesday to begin working on that, there's no way that you're going to be able to successfully have all that work done. It's a lot of work. And there's no way you're going to be able to successfully have all that done in that short period of time and to do a good job with it. But I'm always available, Joel. If you have a question, you can call me or send me a message, you know, along the way if you're working on something and you're not clear.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And Dr. Revis would be the same way.
I figured I would just get on tonight and make sure I didn't miss anything. Maybe somebody would ask some questions that I would need to hear too.
Well, and that's what a lot of students do. They do. I figured that we would have some that would not, and that's okay. That's the whole purpose. I'm going to stop share, and then I think I can better do it this way so I can see everybody.
Dr. Stedman, I was just looking. So the week after next is just task 1, just the research literature review.
Yeah, task 1 and task 1, prompt 1, and prompt 2.
Okay, prompt 1 and prompt 2.
Prompt 2, yeah. Yeah. Hey, Dr. Revis.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. I figure that they can, and we may have others joining us along the way. Dr. Revis, at any point along the way when we're talking, you just feel free to interject thoughts, and I may, we're just going to tag team on this and working with the students.
Okay, sounds good.
And it's okay. We've got just a few right now, so if you want to, whoever wants to unmute themselves and go ahead. If you've got a question, go ahead, and then just like Joel said, he's just hanging around because he said he might hear something that he needs to hear, and that's okay. And Janice said the same. Janice, you got a question?
Yes, sir. I was going to ask Dr. Revis. I put some things, artifacts in my competency task stream, and one of them was like an invitation where I went to an IEP meeting, and I think I put that under sensitivity. And your comment was something about show or describe how I led it, but I didn't lead it. I was thinking that that just would be how I participated in something and showed sensitivity. So can you just clarify maybe some of those? I just want to make sure I'm putting the right things in there.
Okay. Probably when I opened it, I couldn't just see the connection between how that artifact demonstrated sensitivity. So you might have to write a statement or two to describe how how that artifact demonstrates sensitivity.
And may I say something, Dr. Revis?
Sure.
Janice, one of the things, because you're dealing with an IEP and that's a sensitive area to begin with, your focus can be when you look at the couple of sentences that she's saying to narratively, just talk about the sensitivity of the confidentiality of an IEP meeting and the privacy of the students, and then any of those issues as it relates to their rights as an exceptional student.
So it's okay that I didn't lead the meeting. I just participated.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
There's some things that you would not a lot, but there's a few things and that's one of them, that unless you're an exceptional children's teacher, you would not be allowed to lead that meeting. So you're perfectly all right with that.
It's just I need to explain more about how it
Yeah.
relates to the sensitivity.
And you don't have to go into great detail with it either.
Okay. Just making
Just a
sure.
couple sentences.
Okay, that's a good question though. Okay, somebody else right now.
Yes, I have a question. This is Damien.
Hey, Damien.
How you doing? About the
Well.
task screen, the 12 competencies.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying. Do I go under? It should be up under the competencies on the side where where I turn my AAPSL in.
Right, Damien. If you remember when we were introducing the AAPSL, remember we showed you the 21 competencies.
Yes, sir.
And you picked 8 of them you had to do, and then you picked 4 more from that list of 21.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we have recommended is that if it were me, I would use those same 12 that I've already addressed with the AAPSL. You don't have to, but it just would make good sense to use the 12 to begin with, the 12 that you've already addressed with the AAPSL. But yes, those are the same 12. And remember, you wrote about them you did a narrative for them to get credit for them for the AAPSL. Now you're going to provide artifacts. You can find something that you've done. You've got to show something that you've actually done and participated in for those same 12 or whatever 12 that you would, well, whatever you're working on. But you've got to have, for all 21, you've got to have an artifact at the end of this semester for all 21 of those competencies. And that is not in Blackboard, that is in TaskStream.
All right.
And remember, we're only submitting, you would submit yours, Damien, to Dr. Revis for her review and comments. And she's going to clear you for this semester. When you've done all 21, she's going to clear you and just say that you have met competency folio requirements for fall 2020. And then you will save those. It's like putting them in the bank. You'll do 21 this semester, you'll do 21 in the spring semester, and you'll do 21 again in the summer semester. And then once all 3 of those are done, that's a total of 63. 63 is you'll have 63 competencies, 3 for each one. And that is what, after that last one is approved in the summer, they're all put together and they're put into your competency folio. They're transferred into your competency folio, and then it's submitted to TaskStream for a final grade. And this is actually a part of your licensure process.
Okay.
Okay, but right now, all you've got to do is focus on what you've worked with up to this point. Now, some students, I have had a few that they felt that they have gone beyond those 12 this semester. Dr. Revis, you had some that one that I looked at from your group, and they were able to justify it, and I think one of them had 15 or 16 that they've done out of the 21 already. So,
Good.
does that answer that, Damien?
Yes, sir. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
you're welcome. Okay, somebody else.
And Damien, if you want to just upload one or two for me and let me look at them and make sure I can see them and that it look good, just do that and then you can work on and finish it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
And,
thank you.
and let me suggest something to all of you. Dr. Revis and I, we make every effort to go into taskstream and to look. We try to on a daily basis to see if somebody submitted something, but I'll be honest with you. Once in a while, I just plain forget. I get caught up in the day and I forget. So if you would, Dr. Revis's students, if you've submitted something to taskstream for my review, then just send me an email and say, Dr. Stebbin, I've submitted something to taskstream for your review. And likewise, my students, if you would do Dr. Revis the same way, that would really help us out, and we would know that we need to go in there, because it may be 2 or 3 or 4 days before somebody puts something in there, and I'll get caught up doing something else, and I'll just be honest with you, I forget sometimes. So that would help us out tremendously if you would remind us of that. And again, remember the note that the message that I just sent out, you can go ahead and your School of Ed disposition in taskstream, that is for evaluation. You can go ahead and do that. Elizabeth, I saw that you did yours. Lizzie, you did yours, and it's not a hard process, is it, Lizzie? It takes no time for you to do that. It's just
I think it took me
bullets, and you
15
just,
minutes.
yeah, it doesn't take long at all. So that is something you can go ahead and knock out and get off your plate as soon as you want to.
Dr. Stebbin.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Shabaza.
Hey, could you explain more about the Marzano's 9 instructional strategies and how it's relating to the AAPTEL? My brain is not.
Okay. Dr. Revis, would you like to respond to that?
Okay, sure. All right, so in your task 1, prompt 2, let me pull it out. You have to do 2 things. You have to identify and create a checklist and a survey. The checklist is of best practices. The survey is to your staff, okay? So your checklist is the one based on Marzano's work. And so if you'll look in your template, Marzano has 9 high yield strategies. And so what you're going to do is look at that checklist and use that unless you have a walkthrough form at your school. Now, if you have a walkthrough form that your school uses, use the walkthrough form. If your school doesn't have a walkthrough form, the second thing you need to do is this walkthrough observation checklist that Dr. Steadman has on the screen right now. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
And Shabaza, go back to the video that we did last week, and you can fast forward until you find this section. Go back and look at the example that was given. Also, that person did an excellent job formatting that and made it easy. All you're doing is like a one-page checklist that when you do a walkthrough, when the principal walks through, they're looking to see. And the thing is, when you do a checklist doesn't mean that you're always going to catch everything that is in there. I can remember when I was a principal that I specifically, I had a lot of things, but sometimes my walkthrough that day was specifically to look for one thing and one thing only. I wanted to make sure that every teacher, that's what I could see, that they were doing that. And sometimes I may have a couple of things that I was focused on. And Dr. Revis, I bet you did the same thing. You know, it was not always, we didn't have time to focus on everything every time.
Yes, I agree. Hi, I just came. I had some internet problem. The walkthrough, it's not a whole lesson we're gonna see. I think my principal said we can do up to 10, 15, 20 minutes and so on.
Exactly.
So I recreated mine. I'm using the Marzano one, and I added what you said last week with the I added a comment section that says, what if I go in and I only caught like the beginning of the lesson or the ending of the lesson. So I'm gonna write something about what I'm seeing at that moment when I go in. So I agree that we can just make it our own and then just put whatever comments that we want to do.
Tamara, excellent. Thank you for that comment. That's exactly what we're giving you guidelines, but you're to make it your own, like Tamara said.
Yes, so I wanted to ask something. I know the example gave a detail, so for the checklist and the survey, are we required to like write commentary about it? I know the example last week had the comment, a little like
yes.
paragraph
In
or
other words, how, you know, anytime you do a visual of anything, there should be commentary, narrative work that explains what this is. First of all, you want to explain how your instrument is valid and reliable.
Okay.
Okay. Remember, you have to have a valid and reliable instrument. How do we know that it's valid and reliable? Okay, you've got to support it.
Okay.
Okay. And it could be
now,
one that your
remember,
district is using.
Yeah, if I could just say this, remember in task 1, prompt 2, you're identifying those instruments and giving some explanation about instruments. You're not administering the instruments in this task.
You're creating in task 1, and you're implementing in task 2.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
I met with my principal. Yeah, sorry, one more question. I met with my principal, and she said it's I could go ahead and start if I wanted to give out the survey as soon as possible. The survey for, I think it's Whitaker, the 5 questions. So I started doing it. Are we expected to get from everyone, or just whatever we get we can just use for the moving forward for the action plan? I got like over 20 already.
Oh, that's great. That's a great number.
Yes, I did the number at the school. Yes, so got over 20, almost 30. So I'm wondering if that's okay, or should I reach out to the rest of the teachers who haven't done it, or just go ahead and work with what I have?
You know, at some point you've got to say, I've got to stop. And you know, if you've got, how many people are on your staff?
45, maybe 50, so 30.
So you've got almost 50%. That's a good, wouldn't you say that's a good percentage, Dr. Revis?
Right. For this work, yes.
Right, for this work.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it, both of you. Thanks.
And again, you've got to remember, most of you are working in not the best situations that you can be working in right now, based on everything that you're dealing with. So you know, you've got to take that in consideration. Also, with what teachers are doing, you know, at some point you've got to say, well, you know, I'm just not going to bother them anymore.
Okay.
You know, so.
Yes, thank you.
That's a good point, though.
All right. Dr. Sedman, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
It's Meredith.
Hey, Meredith, I was trying to find you.
The first kind of goes back to the walkthroughs that you've been talking about. Are those ones that you would like for us to do by ourselves, or should we sit with admin, or what's the preference?
I highly recommend that you walk with administration when you can. I'm going to be honest with you. You have more credibility when you're with the administrator than when you're trying to do something in a peer's room and you're not with the administrator. So if you can walk with your administration, it puts you, first of all, on a different level. They see you differently. And this gives the administration an opportunity to speak to you about things that probably they would not speak to you about if you were not with them. So I highly recommend that if you have the opportunity to walk with a principal, assistant principal, and or it could be both. You know, some schools, they don't call it walkthroughs, they call it instructional rounds, and they go together as an administrative team, just like if you were a doctor in the hospital and the team is walking around, you know, from patient to patient. So, you know, that process is that is a research-based and proven process as well that is very effective. Dr. Revis, any comments on that?
Well, you don't have to do this for the artifact that you're working on, but one of the things that I always found extremely helpful when we were doing collaborative instructional rounds is after we go in and visit a teacher is to take a few moments outside the classroom to chat together, to talk about what we saw, because it's kind of amazing. Not everybody sees the same thing, and it kind of helps us validate what we're seeing in the classroom. So it's just a little bit further. And of course, you can always count those walkthroughs as part of your clinical experiences as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes. That's right.
So then, sorry, I've got two more.
That's okay.
One is for the actual AAPTEL in task 1. So I'm just getting a little confused because it also says like a lit review, and we actually did the lit review in the AAPSL, right? We did like the reference, and then we looked at the article, and then we did the reference, and then we looked at the article. But it's not laid out like that now, right?
You don't have to do an annotated bibliography with this.
Okay, that's where I'm getting confused. Okay.
Yeah, you're only doing research. It's just,
Okay.
It's like if you're doing a research paper, and for each of the, there's 5 topics. You've got to have a minimum of 3 references for each one. No annotated bibliography.
Okay. Good. I thought so. That's how I've been doing it. I just wanted to make sure.
Now, I have had students in the past that chose to do an annotated bibliography with it, and we do not penalize students for doing that if they choose to do that. It worked for them. So, you know, that is not a requirement. It is just something that if you chose to do it, you know, it's okay.
Okay. All right, great. And then my last question goes back to taskstream and the competencies. So, so say one of the ones that I used was from when I was in my meeting with my PLC. I think like the visionary one. And am I just uploading a picture of like the agenda that day as my evidence, or what would be my evidence if I don't have like a picture from that day since we were virtual?
Dr. Revis, you want to respond to that?
Sure. What I would expect to see, Meredith, is if you're uploading a snapshot of your agenda, I would just expect you to say snapshot of PLC agenda that I facilitated, something along those lines.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Hi, Dr. Stedman. What is the plan
This is Joy. Okay. Hey, Joy.
Yes, sorry. What is the plan? Like, we're still at home, like doing remote. So like the walkthroughs and meeting with my admin and stuff, like that's not something I'll be able to do. What is the expectation?
Okay, you will need to set up virtual meetings with your administration if you cannot see them face to face, and then you need to ask permission, because teachers are teaching either through Google Classroom, they're teaching through Canvas or some platform. So what you would need to do is ask permission to Zoom in, to become to get permission, just say 3 or 4 teachers. that, you know, and different times to be able to zoom into their classroom and just observe for what's going on in that classroom for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And document, you know, just as if you were walking into school, you would treat it the very same way.
Okay.
Does that answer that?
Yes, thank you.
You are welcome.
Can I, this is Lizzie, can I piggyback off of Meredith's question from the AAPTEL?
Sure.
In the lit review, we have those 5 like main topics, and we have to have a minimum of 3 in each section. But if we have one article or book that might fit okay in multiple sections, is that okay? Or do I need to have a minimum of 15 sources?
No, if it works and it's a great one, that's okay, Lizzie. We just don't want to see 50. We don't want to see one or two sources used for the whole thing.
Right.
You know, not everything comes from one book or 2 books, but that's
For
okay.
Sure.
You're exactly right. That's fine, and we understand that.
Okay.
So I have a question if
Sure.
Lizzie's finished.
Okay. She's through.
Someone earlier was talking about the number of respondents to their survey, and it got me thinking, we only have 9 or 10 classroom teachers in my tiny school. And I sent an email asking their permission to do the walkthroughs because that's what my principal wanted me to do. And 3 of them have responded. So, you know, as far as total number, that's not a lot, but it is about 1/3 of the staff. Is that okay?
And that's sufficient. That's good enough, Joel.
Okay.
I mean, that's about what we would expect to see.
Okay. Thank you.
And even with your surveys, if you got 50% of them, that would be no different than if you had 100 people in your school and you got 50 people to respond to it. That's no different. You know, the percentages would be the same.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions? These are good questions.
Dr. Stedman?
Sure.
Can I ask about the School of Ed disposition? I'm not
Sure, Ashley. Okay, good. Well, go ahead. What?
I'm not familiar.
Okay, it's in taskstream.
Okay.
When you go to taskstream, you will see where you have to complete your AAPSL, you have to complete your AAPTEL. You'll get a score for both of them. Then you'll have your competency analysis, which you cannot do until the end of this semester, and then your School of Ed disposition. There's 4 things that will be evaluated in taskstream this semester for 601, and it's in the same place where you would when you go into taskstream. It would be where you uploaded to get your AAPSL score. You're going to go to the same place and look for it there.
Okay.
And all it is just School of Ed disposition. It's a self-rating of yourself.
Okay.
That's all it is. And like Lizzie said, it takes 10-15 minutes at the most to do that. Okay. And remember, Dr. Lamb, I think Dr. Lamb said this. He said that if you rate yourself, I think it was superior in that it's okay.
Exceeds
expectations. If you do that, you just have to provide justification as to how you exceed expectation in that area. If you just, Dr. Revis, you're gonna have to help me. I cannot remember the.
I think it's met.
Met expectations.
Yeah.
If you put met, you don't have to do anything else there. But if
and
you
remember, you're going to do this 3 different times.
And I'm not telling anybody not to put that you exceed expectations. Now, if every one of the areas was exceed expectations, I I honestly, I'd have to take my hat off and think about that one a little bit. But, you know, sometimes you've got people that are highly competent in technology, highly competent. And, you know, that may be one area that you might say, you know, if you're a technology facilitator at your school, then you should exceed expectations in that. But you would say, the reason that I feel that I exceed expectations is because, and you would justify it because I am the technology facilitator at my school, or, you know, this is, I have a 4-year degree in communication, you know, those kind of skills. You understand what I'm saying on that?
Yes.
But now, if you run into a problem and you when you go in there, you just can't find where it is, and sometimes that happens, reach out to Dr. Revis and me independently, and we'll help you with that. So,
Okay. Thank you.
you are welcome.
This question is for Dr. Ravis. I think on Saturday I sent my task stream for you to look at. I'm not sure if it was sent to you, but I just wanted to, have you seen anything or in your email that came up? I'm not sure on my part if I did it right, because I sat and kind of uploaded a lot of info on Saturdays. So I'm not sure if it came to you.
Hold on, Tamara, and I'll tell you.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I think I
Tamara,
did.
is that how you say your name?
I saw it this morning.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I made some errors. So I just wanted to make sure if it was sent or so.
I don't remember seeing anything, but I did look at it this morning.
Oh, okay, yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, something went wrong when I did it. All right, thanks again.
Tamara, is it Tamara or Tamara?
There's so many pronunciation. It's Tamara.
Tamara, okay.
Yes,
Tamara,
but that's okay. I just take anything. I'm from Jamaica, but I'll take anything. No problem. No problem, man.
Love your accent too.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, someone else. This is all good. Well, let me ask you this. After last week, after Dr. Revis and I fully immersed you with task 1 and task 2 of the AAPTEL, after you've had a chance to look at it, does it all make sense? Do you see how after you do the work in task 1, how all of that flows into task 2? Have you been able to make that connection at this point yet? Or you're not quite that far yet?
I see the connection. I am a little worried about are we going to go over it again next Tuesday? Like,
sure.
Okay. Like, yeah, I see the connection. I'm just.
Now, what is it? Now we can go over anything tonight. You know, we can do a Reader's Digest version of something if we need to tonight.
Well, I guess I'm just more, so when we do the survey and the walkthroughs and we do all that, do we need that done before we can do task 2? No. No, Dr. Revis says no.
No, I was trying to, no, task 1, go ahead, Dr. Revis.
Okay, all you're doing in task 1 is you're identifying your survey and your checklist, okay? And you're going to narratively talk about it a little bit. Where did it come from? Why did you decide to do that? Talk a little bit about how you know it's reliable and valid, and that's it, okay?
Okay.
And task 2 is then when you're going to administer those surveys.
Okay, but can we start so when we actually go to type up prompt 1 though, do we already need that done? That's what I'm asking. Or do I need that information before I start typing up prompt 1? I'm looking where
prompt 1 of task 2?
Chart. Yeah, prompt 1 and task 2.
Okay, task 2. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Okay, I thought you were talking about of task 1. Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, for task 2. So before we start doing prompt 1 of task 2, do we need that information back?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's what I just want to make sure about too.
Yes.
Okay, just remember again, in task 1, you are creating. You're designing and you're creating. You're a design team right now. And everything in task 2, you're actually doing. You're creating in task 1, you're doing in task 2. So everything that you are creating in task 1 must be fully implemented in task 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, because I saw, like, looking at the gap analysis chart, like, but that's what we need, all that information to be able to create that.
You don't have to do anything with task 2 now, but sometimes knowing what task 2 looks like helps you as you're creating something. I'm creating this because,
yes,
you know, the big picture, you know, as you're moving over.
Yeah.
But we just remember, we've got to give you permission. We've got to say, yes, what you've created is good enough to be used for task 2 first. Okay.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Now, in the meantime, if any of you are at a place that you don't have to wait until next Sunday a week from now. You don't have to wait until then to submit that. If you get to a place that you feel comfortable, that it's ready to go in for Dr. Revis and my review, but don't send us half work. Make sure that you send all of task 1, prompt 1 and 2 for us to read. If you get to that point, by all means, don't wait, because that will hold you back. We can go ahead and look at your work and give you the feedback. And if it needs any adjustments, then we'll tell you. If it's good to go, then you can move on and wait for your peer review process, but it will allow you to go ahead and to get started into task 2 without having to wait. Some of you will once you get the momentum, some of you will move through this pretty quickly. I figure in about 3 or 4 weeks, once you get started, that some people will be finishing up with the AAPTEL. Once you get started, don't you, Dr. Revis?
Oh yes, it goes.
Once you get past next week, I think you're going to see your momentum pick up with it. Dr. Revis, while they're thinking about the next question, I just want to remind all of you to make sure in this program, now you're halfway through the semester with Dr. Revis and me. You'll have somebody else next semester. You'll have 2 brand new people. You'll have a new instructor and you'll have a new clinical coach. And it's important that you remember communication is very important in anything that you do. And when Dr. Revis or I send an email or we reach out to you, please know that we should not be put on the back burner. We should be given top attention. You've signed up for a rigorous program and you're paying well for this program. And we expect you to get what you're supposed to get out of it. And so we're going to hold you to high standards. I think you would not appreciate us if we did not hold you to high standards. So I think likewise, you know, you need to be aware that if we communicate with you, if we ask you to do something, please communicate back with us in a timely manner, okay? I think that's fair. And if you don't hear back if you reach out to us, I promise you this, if you don't hear from Dr. Revis and me, it's because it has flown into space. I'm going to respond back very quickly, and Dr. Revis does too. So if you don't hear back from us, then again, it's okay to pick up the phone and say, you know, I haven't heard back from you, or something, because honestly, sometimes emails get stacked sometime, and I've lost them before, or I just didn't see what Dr. Revis had to remind me that 3 of her students had submitted something for me to review, because a couple of days I had not gone in there and I just forgot about it. So it was okay. I'm glad she prompted me, and one of the students reminded me. So, you know, again, When it comes to your Blackboard work, we're going to look at that every day. And I'm trying to remember to go into taskstream and look at it every day too. But again, let us know if you're submitting work that you want us to review in there. That will help. We're supposed to get email notifications, but for some reason that's not happening. So that, you know, unless we just go in there and check it on our own, which we try to do, but just let us know, and that'll help us out a lot. Another question.
I saw Joel wanted to ask a question. Do you want to go, Joel?
Hey, Joel.
Earlier.
Joel, do you have a question?
I think I asked it a few minutes ago.
Okay.
Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yes. So can you give me a little bit more info with meeting? Now that I say this week I'm going to finalize my, after I submit task 1 in the AAPTEL, and then the coming days I will have the data. What is my requirement to meet with the principal now? What is my expectation? I heard Dr. Ravis said something about, you know, normally if it was a face-to-face walkthrough, we'd stay back and do some chatting about what we have seen, best practices and so on. What is my expectation when I have the data, or I have the data of the walkthrough, I have the data of the survey? How do I move forward now with that meeting for task 2 with my principal or task 3? I'm not sure if I'm
your principal then. Your principal, you're going to interview your principal or talk with your principal about the walkthrough process that they do. And, you know, you're going to ask, this is a part of your interview process, the qualitative research that you're going to be doing.
Okay.
And you're going to talk with them, and just a brief interview, and it can be very informal. And, you know, just say, what is the, can you talk with me about the walkthrough process at the school? And when you just do your walkthroughs, what are you finding to be the strengths of our staff? What are you finding to be the areas that possibly need improvement? And again, that is directly from your principal. So you can quote your principal in writing up the work that you're doing. This is a part of your research that you're doing, qualitative research. Again, remember that with your PLC, whether you meet them face-to-face or if you pull them together in a Zoom meeting, remember your PLC can also be considered as a focus group. You can interview them and consider them as a focus group in this qualitative research that you're doing.
Okay. Thank you.
Or any part of the school improvement team. You may not can get all of them together, but you can pull a faction of them, and they can serve as a focus group in your qualitative research. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Dr. Stedman, okay, I just need to make sure I'm just documenting my hours correctly.
Okay.
So, well, forget that. How do I document these hours? Like each thing gets an hour, or is it like the time I spent doing the things?
Okay, what are you talking about, Joy?
So like I've been doing interviews for the teachers, like to hire new staff.
Okay, how much time did you spend with that probably?
It feels like a lifetime, but we probably are there usually like 45 minutes with the person, and then she calls us back to debrief. So maybe like an hour 15.
Okay, what you would want is you would want to put a part of the interview process for prospective teachers. That is the activity. And, you know, you could have, I would say that you could have, I would say 3, 4, 5 hours, Dr. Revis would be okay with that. You just don't want it to be top heavy with one thing.
Okay, and this I want to make sure, but it just seems like in trying to lead as far as like getting the students there, materials and the devices that they need or whatever. Like that's been a month-long process.
Okay, now are you working with the administration as part of the leadership, working with parents and students and teachers to
Yes, she told me that is my intern project for the year.
Well, then what I would do is I would look at that and I would differentiate within that as much as I could.
Okay.
Differentiate your hours. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Other questions?
I have a question more for like the licensing part, if you could answer for me real quick.
Okay.
Because I'm in North Carolina, and you said there's no test.
Right.
I don't know if I'm staying in North Carolina. Can I still take the South Carolina test just in case, or would I have to be in South Carolina to take that test? Like working in,
I don't think you have to. I think you can take it. I would think, Dr. Revis, you can take the praxis. You can sign up for it anywhere if you think that might be where you're going to be going one day. If you think that is where you might be moving one day, then I would go ahead and make that plan to take that so that when I got there, it would make you marketable and you wouldn't have to wait.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about that though? If you went ahead, or if whoever went ahead and got licensed in North Carolina, won't most states offer a reciprocal license without jumping through further hoops?
Not most states.
Okay.
Not most states. South Carolina will not reciprocate. They will. You have to take the praxis in South Carolina to be licensed as an administrator. There are, Dr. Revis, there are some states that will reciprocate, but there's not many of them anymore that reciprocate, I don't think.
Georgia will reciprocate with South Carolina.
Yeah, they will. And sometimes you will have neighboring states that may, but it doesn't stretch out real far, Joel. They usually will require you to do some type of assessment or something that you have to do to get certified in their state.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Karen, do you have a question?
No, I was just saying, yep, you're correct.
Yeah. Okay. Are there other questions?
Dr. Stedman, just to be sure, in task 1 description, it says the candidate will develop a visual checklist of best practices. But I think you said we could use the Marzano check.
Yeah.
The Marzano, okay. But we just have to find some way to make it our own. Okay.
What you can do, Ashley, if you and again, let me go back to what I told instructed, I think it was Shabaza to do, is to go back and look at that our video from last week, and if you remember, that instructor, I mean that teacher, that student had used Marzano, but they had made it their own instrument.
Okay.
They had done all 9 of Marzano's 9, but they had framed it out and made it look like a one-page template that they could walk around and do a checklist, yes or no, yes or no. And then I think it was Tamara that said that she did that, but she added a comment section at the bottom of it.
Okay, so just you can use
it.
it, you just have to make it your own. Because
the format may change as far as your formatting of the template, but what you're looking for, those 9 high yield strategies would not change.
Okay.
And Ashley, don't make it hard. Make your walkthroughs, make it as easy as you can, because you don't have a lot of time to do what you have to do in there. So, you want it to do what you want it to do, but make it as easy as you can on you as you're doing the work.
Right, because I asked my administrators what they use, and theirs is very, very, very informal. I mean, it's not a check sheet. It's just, they send us an email that's like, it just says, you know, was technology used? Yes or no? I mean, they just type it in, and it's not like.
Right. And
there's not
some actually have an electronic gadget that they walk around with, and it records what they're doing. You know, but this is an opportunity, Ashley, to come up with something easy and present it. When you present it, your administration may say, you know, Ashley, I like this. I plan to use it. It's an opportunity.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
To go off what Ashley's saying, if our school and our district is using something that we like and that's worthwhile, and I can get data from it, it's connected to Hattie's research, which is very similar to Marzano. That's an okay tool? I don't have to recreate that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Is it Cara or Kara?
Kara.
Kara. Okay.
Yep.
So Dr. Stedman or Dr. Revis, my district has a walkthrough document that they use electronically. I would prefer, I feel like I will get better information from the Marzano checklist, and my principal has said I can use, you know, whatever I want to. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And again, it's an opportunity. They may like what you do, Joel, and decide that they want to use that too. So you never know.
If our district is using, this is Lizzie, is using a different tool, do you need to see, like, do we need to send you like a copy or something about that? Because mine is very similar. It's run off of Hattie's, and like the effect sizes and
yeah, you would be able to know. Just explain that your instrument is being devised from one that your district is already using, and tell just a little bit about it.
okay.
Because that, Lizzie, what that does, that validates your instrument because your district has approved it. And you may not be using the whole thing. You may be pulling segments from it for your checklist. But South Carolina has, their stuff is very, very detailed. It's big. And so I've always told South Carolina people to go into the big stuff and pull the little stuff out of it that you need. They've got what North Carolina has. It's just in a different way, and it's in big documents, big stuff. Okay, good questions.
I'm going to head out. Thank you guys for doing this. I'm going to head out a little bit earlier and eat this bean dip I just got out of the oven. So
okay, you go eat your supper.
Y'all take care, and I'll see you Tuesday.
Okay. Lizzie, did that answer that document I sent? Did that take care of the?
Yes.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention, because I told Dr. Revis that for two, I think it was Dr. Revis, Dr. Actually, I created that in spring, and I just revised it for the fall, and nobody caught that in the spring. So, you know, anyway,
I mean, I assumed that was going to be the date. I just didn't want to. And managing, I have 2 small children, you know, new to my job, new to everything. So just trying to plan things out for when I can squeeze this time.
I understand. And I actually saw that in your face when you were, and that's why I went ahead and fixed it for you.
Thank you. I mean, I have a 3.5-year-old and a 6-year-old, and it's a lot right now.
My hat's off to you, I promise you. Guys, these have been good questions. This has been a good time. I thank you for joining us.
Checking our chat, and I think we've answered everything in our chat.
Do what?
I've been checking our chat. That's kind of hard to say, checking your chat. And answered everything. I think we've answered everything, so.
Good.
Hey, Dr. Stedman.
Hey, Jonathan.
Sorry I'm late to the party. I've been working on the master schedule since 2:30 for semester 2. So you might have answered this question already.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Since I just jumped on, and I know you were probably expecting me since, I can't get a week past without sending you a message.
That's all right. That's all right. I look forward to it, Jonathan.
So I had the opportunity to create our new survey for our walkthroughs for our online platform teachers.
Right.
So am I putting that and our walkthrough of in-person in prompt 2? Am I putting both of them?
You created it in task 1, and you're going to use it in task 2.
Okay.
So yes, you may see in task 2, we're going to see not necessarily see the same document. We're going to see the results of the work that you do with that document.
Okay.
And just remember that the document becomes a figure, and it will go into your appendices, so you can always refer to figure 1 or figure 2 or whatever it is in your other evidences and your other tasks that you're doing.
Okay.
Jonathan, did you say that you actually created 2 different observations?
Noel, what's going on, my friend?
Hi.
Yeah, so once I started doing the walkthroughs, like my PD for this is Friday. So like I've already done my survey. I've already done all that. But I was gifted the task of creating a checklist for all of our teachers who are teaching virtually, because we don't have one right now. So they're just throwing it all on me, which is great experience. But I just didn't know if I was going to put that in to this portion of our work, but I'm going to, because I created it. So.
Yeah, you did. Jonathan,
he's getting tons of work.
We met earlier this week, and I will tell you, Jonathan really is, he's in a very great situation. He's getting some great experience.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Jonathan, if you had the 2 different walkthroughs, like one for in-person, one for virtual, if you could see about meshing those together so that you only have the one, and then that you can use, virtual here, and, sometimes you can see the same things in both platforms.
Yeah.
That's a good suggestion, Noel. Great. Okay, other questions? This has been a good hour. Dr. Revis, anything else that you?
I can't think of anything else. I know this is this task 1 is very heavy in writing. Again, don't forget your APA. I have to plug APA just for a moment. Don't forget you're expected now to use correct parenthetical citations and references. So just be sure you're doing that in your writing.
And again, make sure you're taking advantage of this time to try to at least go ahead and get, for your competency folio, get the 12 competencies that you've already completed for the AAPSL. Don't wait until the end of this semester and have all that on you at one time. Go ahead and take advantage of that time now, and get it done. Okay. Okay, well, Dr. Revis and I are available if you need us. And in the meantime, we will see you next Tuesday. And again, our classes will be a little bit differently. We're not going to drive it exactly like we did with the AAPSL. Probably going to be a little more informal, Dr. Revis. I think we're at that place where we can do that now. And I think that they're at a place where we can do that. So Dr. Revis and I are we'll communicate between now and next Tuesday, and we'll have a plan together. But every group's different, Dr. Revis. And, you know, this group is how they're understanding and doing their work is differently from the group that we had last spring. And so we're revamping, and whatever we do is based on our audience, which is you, and you know, so that we can best meet your needs. So we'll make sure that we've got something quality ready for you on Tuesday night. Okay. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.